that cannot pick up a lot of the major seventh chords because they're like the baritones and basses are like a semitone out.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just like baritones, where are you? Baritones, where are you? Baritones, where are you? And also Rafi's not here, which doesn't help.
No, it doesn't.
But to be fair, Kevin and Sean have gone to sing the baritone part with them, and then they're just swapping back and forth, so they can sight sing it as well.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, they've been really helpful.
Okay.
Really, really helpful.
Guys, this is for Life is the cast. I realized that we've never spoken to Tomos about his background, and I thought that'd be fun for all of you to find out a little bit about. Yeah, so hi.
Hi, Bill.
You want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Thomas Nichols, and I, alongside Bill, am co-director of the Kuala Lumpur Men's Chorus.
Yeah, so the first general question is tell us a bit about your background, where you're from, your relationship with music, and how did you discover the KLMC?
So I grew up in the UK. I am Welsh by trade, so I grew up as a Welsh boy in South Wales. I ended up sort of finding my way into instrumental work, so as an orchestral musician, kind of specializing at university in bass clarinet. There's a dire need for bass clarinetists in most places, so yeah, orchestras and wind bands kind of found my way into that. Ended up going to sort of junior conservatoire, going to Saturdays music school, found my way as a bass clarinetist, and then, as most graduate musicians in the UK, moved to London. I thought, okay, what am I going to do? And couldn't really find anything. Knew I kind of wanted to move into teaching at that time, but couldn't really afford to train as a teacher. University expenses in the UK are quite high.
Oh.
So
was this before or after Oxford?
So after graduating from Oxford, moved to London, and yeah, tried to find a way as a young graduate musician in London, which is difficult to say the least.
I had no idea.
To say the least. So I ended up finding a position as a music teaching assistant in an international school in Yangon, in Myanmar.
Wow.
And ended up just moving on a bit of a whim, interviewed at like 4 a.m, and ended up moving to Myanmar. There I did my teacher training, and I was working there as a teaching assistant, doing a lot of events management, as well as still doing a lot of one-to-one clarinet tuition as well. So I was kind of covering a lot of the things that I wanted to do in terms of teaching as well as training, but also putting on concerts and really trying to develop my events management kind of work there as well. After sort of training as a teacher, I was there in Myanmar for both COVID and a coup, which was fun. I wouldn't recommend it, but no. It was unsafe for me to really stay. And so I had found a job to work as a primary music teacher in Malaysia. Yeah. And then I moved here in 2021.
Yeah.
So how did I find the KLMC? I think I was really looking for a choral experience that I could kind of have some level of ownership of, and that was kind of based around people I wanted to be around. So whilst I was in Myanmar, along with the British Embassy, I used to conduct and also co-direct with a guy called Mario, a choir along with the British Embassy. So I was really looking for another experience of something, not necessarily that I could direct, but I wanted to be a part of a choral experience. Yeah. And then I found the KLMC. And then within 6 months, I ended up putting myself forward to be co-director with Bill.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of a short stop.
We took over in July of 2023.
Has it been that long already? Okay, yes.
And then we moved to Deepak in 2024.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we ended up doing the musical at the end.
And then we ended up doing the musical. Yeah.
Is that correct? My brain is.
I think
I'm
so.
Sure if that's.
I can't remember. I feel like I joined. Yeah, probably. I feel like I joined January.
You did?
January 2023. Yeah. Then we had our first showcase June, July 2023.
I wasn't in charge either. We took over in July.
Yes, we took over in July after our showcase.
Yeah,
after
that's right. So this is going to be different for you from the other boys. What was it like agreeing to the musical, leading up to it, show week and after?
Agreeing to the musical was actually really, really exciting. It was something that I wanted to do for a while, and I had started penciling some ideas together for Short and Sweet.
Right.
So I had mentioned to you, and I was like, yeah, I'm kind of keen to do this idea. It's only 10 minutes long. It's a good thing to kind of like workshop some ideas that I've got. I don't really know who would be involved, but I was working with a friend who was an English teacher and had much more experience in writing prose than I did. And from a musical point of view, at Junior Conservatoire, I had trained in composition. I specialized in composition and clarinet when I was at university. Mostly instrumental stuff.
Right.
So that when it came to the time, okay, I want to explore these two different ideas, and I have someone who can help me.
Yeah.
That never really came to fruition. But when we'd been presented with that experience, I was like, yes, we absolutely have to do it. It's crazy, but let's do it and let's see what happens.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. So in terms of really throwing ourselves into it, it felt very daunting, particularly because I come from a point of I am an instrumental writer, and like orchestration, I can sit down and do orchestration for hours, and I love orchestration and exploring that. But writing prose is not something that comes very naturally to me at all. And you really did have to guide me through that process of just, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Maybe a little bit more so, but it wasn't necessarily to my detriment. You were a massive help in developing a lot of my prose. So thank you. You were really a true
But you taught me so much too. You taught me Canva, Excel, all the things that I'm terrible
all of the things of like, how do you produce as well?
No, exactly.
Yeah.
We need a budget. We need all these things. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And those are the things I do really enjoy as well, is that yes, I enjoy directing. Yes, I enjoy musical direction. Yes, I enjoy composition and orchestration. But there's an element of like, I really love the logistics of pulling a show together and like branding of the show as well. And that was really hard for me to kind of trust myself in doing that as well, and giving ideas that weren't ridiculous. And it was like, here's 75 logos for what Life Is could be. Let's see what we've got. And now it's something I really do trust. Now it's, and seeing, the logo for Life Is, an original musical, actually makes me feel quite proud.
Very.
Of what
Especially knowing where we started.
Yes.
I still look at the original ideas, but oh my gosh.
And also there are so many ideas that are kind of left on the drawing board that we can still come to, of course. Life Is 2.0. But I mean, I think the original idea was probably about, there was 10 scenes,
short
maybe?
stories, my gosh.
Yeah,
we're so happy we
stories.
pulled it down to 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Okay. What was it like for you during show weekend? How do you feel after?
During show week was quite intense, but as somebody who's done musical theatre as a child and as a teenager, it reminded me a lot of those experiences, and so I felt very at home during that as well. So I previously worked in the UK with a youth theatre company called Ricknick.
Okay.
And Ricknick was a charity that basically said to teenagers within a certain county in the UK, we'll give you a budget, we'll buy the show, we'll give you a budget to do that, decide who you want your director to be, your producer to be, your MD is going to be, we'll give you all the money, the only thing you have to do is break even.
That's so cool.
It's so cool. So the first year, my friend invited me to be their AMD, and that's really how I got into that. And so it reminded me a lot of that experience that I was given.
And that was our goal as well, just to break even.
Just break even. So I did that sort of 20, and then 21. When I was 21, the year after, I came on as a more producer role.
I would love to do that here.
Yeah, I mean, it was something. If we could set up a charity, KLMC supports youth theatre, that would be fantastic. And just say, here's the money. Break even.
Pick your favorite director, your music director.
And it also means that you've got some level of mentorship as well for the people who own that. And now Ricknick's become a much bigger thing in the UK, which is fantastic. But yeah, so having gone through that experience as a teenager, it felt very much as an adult, like, oh, I know where I stand with this, I know what happens, I know where things are, and it felt very comfortable. It also meant that through that comfort, directing the boys as to how to be was a lot easier because I could just pull on prior experience. And knowing that many of those boys had never been on stage before, and how to guide them and best make them feel at ease in something that could have been quite terrifying for them.
Which leads us to the question, do you have any regrets or things you would have changed about the show?
I don't think there's anything I would have changed necessarily about the final product. I think getting the boys to the place, by the time that we'd done the final show on that Sunday night, and the audience reaction, even the audience reaction on the Friday, thinking about how the boys really took space and found space within the black box there. I think maybe within the delivery of it, I think I mentioned this before, I maybe regretted how I reacted to particular challenges. And I think that's something I hold against myself in the way that you respond to challenges. I didn't necessarily like myself all the time in terms of how I hold myself to be a mentor or a teacher or a director. There's levels of frustration that you have, and I'm sure you agree as a director, it's like, why isn't this person getting this? I've tried 4, 5, 6 ways around this and they're still not getting on. There's a cognitive dissonance between these ideas. And the way I responded to that.
I think something Xavier says sticks with me. I remember that time I exploded. It was like an explosion. He says everything happens for a reason. And I agree. I think you learn something from that, and I learned something from what I did. You know, it makes us better. Rather than, hi guys, we're perfect. We do not make mistakes.
No, of course.
No, exactly.
And the process is also messy and sloppy. And it has to be because it's a creative product. Had we known exactly how we were going to get it to market and on stage, I don't know that the product would have been as good.
I don't know about that, but I'm just saying the strife has a purpose.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
And it's nice that it didn't feel easy to me. And I mean, I don't know about for you. I love that it was a bit tough.
I think that means, and I agree with you, that it feels more as a director that you're making a difference in some ways. That like the battle and the hardship is actually making traction.
I love that you and I didn't affect anyone else. We knew 1 week before show we had 30% sales, and we were like, we are not going to worry if we lose money. You know, we'll cover it. We'll just take it as an expensive mistake. You know, kind of thing. And to know that you're on the same page as myself and it's not their problem. That was so cool, because other people just bleed, you know, stress. If we're stressed out, they need to be stressed out too. We did. We had so much. We had to cheerlead them so hard all the time. And when lighting falls through, when our set budget something we want double, it's like what? You know, no matter what happened, we never. It's almost like, you can sink us, but we just find a way to breathe underwater.
Save that. It's a lyric. It's a lyric.
It's already a lyric.
It's already a lyric.
But I think that became proof to us that we are, not to say survivors, but being stressed out is not our job.
No.
And also, we've got a bigger responsibility.
We have a bigger responsibility, and I constantly bring this up a lot as well, is that I do feel a sense of duty as a mentor, and also as a level of, not necessarily parenthood, but like, I felt quite a lot of, I need to protect these boys within a part of, you know, we've decided to put these boys on stage and they've agreed halfway, but at the same time, like, we're the point of call. The fall happens on us. It doesn't happen on them as well.
And we want them to love what we love.
Of course.
Like, please like musical theatre. Guys, it's really fun. This theatre circle thingy. And everyone kind of felt it. They all bought the juice.
They did.
Whether it's Kenny Shin, whether it's CJ. It's just, it was really good. The last thing is, I don't know if this applies. Do you have a message for your younger self? Or for someone else that needs to hear something you need to say?
My mind's gone completely blank. That's such a hard question.
Is it?
I'm trying to think like what I would have loved to have known. I think, in a way, I kind of would say not knowing is okay. I think that's what, for example, I moved to Southeast Asia at 21, 22. Not really knowing what I was going to find there. I had never left Europe. So not knowing is actually quite okay. Don't get me wrong, when I moved to Myanmar, I didn't leave the house for 3 days when I got put in an apartment because I was terrified of what was on the outside. But I think not knowing all the time is okay. And I think particularly there's what I see maybe in sort of university students, that sort of like late teen age, is a real thirst to know everything as a way to protect them, but actually not knowing what's coming is quite exciting. But it's also challenges you to really reveal yourself to yourself as to how you deal with those challenges along the way as well. And I think you learn a lot, or certainly I've learned a lot about myself in doing that. I moved halfway across the world,
Yes.
and I learned loads about myself in that time as a human. So I think, yeah, not knowing is okay.
Okay, that's all I wanted to ask because we've already got so much footage with you and me.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
so
boys
much-
are sick of hearing us talk.
So much footage.
Yeah, but no, I wanted to show people or share with them more about you, less about what we keep doing and our vision and this project. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, man.